Although 9,500 kilometres separates the two exciting photographic locations of the Three Valleys ski resort in France and the amazing Indian city of Hyderabad, one thing unites them: the rich opportunity to take hundreds of photographs and to use a variety of compositional techniques. In the previous two videos we've been exploring some of those techniques I use. We've looked at getting in close, isolating a subject, the rule of thirds, use of lines and unusual shooting angles. In this video I'm going to share 6 more techniques I use in order to think about composition. The first is colour. I'm sure you know there are 3 primary colours: red, blue and yellow. If you mix yellow with blue you get green, red and blue you get purple, and red and yellow you get orange. Orange, purple and green are known as secondary colours. Put in a colour wheel, there are then 3 complementary pairs of colour: yellow and purple, green and red, and finally blue and orange. Often complementary colours tend to work well together. So when I noticed this orange base on the cable car pylon, I couldn't resist a shot looking upwards towards the intense blue sky. The second thing I try and look for is shape, form and texture. With a beautiful clear blue sky, the hard light cast over the undulating landscape of the Three Valleys was a photographic must-do. I quite like how the shadows help pick up the contours of the landscape, and I've tried to pick out some snow in the immediate foreground with a midsection to the image and mountains in the background. The third technique is to look out for a decisive moment. The famous French photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson described this as the creative fraction of a second when you are taking a picture. Your eye must see the composition and you must know with intuition when to click the camera. If you miss it, it's gone forever. So here are 2 decisive moments in the Three Valleys: a wonderful, perfect landing, and the magical, not so wonderful moment just before my brother-in-law decided to plant his face in a pile of soft snow. The fourth technique is useful when you are taking an image of something that is moving. If you compose your image and look for some space for the subject to move into, you immediately begin to create an image where the viewer gets to think about what happens next. This space is so-called negative space, an area where there isn't really much going on. Well, back to my brother-in-law and the 5th technique, looking for reflections. Not only is he a great buddy on our ski adventures, he's extremely patient with me, stopping every so often to take a load of photos. During a quick ski break and hot chocolate, I notice how the reflections on his sunglasses, and I reckon this is quite an interesting image. In the reflection itself, there is a foreground of me with mountains in the background. The final and 6th technique in this video is juxtaposition. For me, in the context of making interesting compositions, juxtaposition is all about placing 2 contrasting, often opposite things or even concepts next to each other. 9,500 kilometres away then from the rest of our snowy images, here are 2 examples from India. The juxtaposition of these Indian ladies, one old and one young, and in a second image a more abstract comparison and juxtaposition of the relative speed of this motorbike and goat. So there you have it, 6 more techniques or ideas to think about: colour, shape, form and texture, decisive moment, negative space, reflections and juxtaposition.